I'm a huge mythological or Greek mythology and Asian mythology fan. So I've always had this idea, like, how do you do a modern-day Lord of the Rings?
Why do we like John Wick? As I come out of the theater for the fourth one, which felt like an out-of-body experience, I'm left to think about that. I know I love these movies, but why? Obviously, there's the action, the choreography, the stunts. It's what we're paying to see in these movies when we pay to see them. Not just fantastic action choreography, but fantastic action choreography coupled with fantastic directing to go along with it. Steady shots, carefully executed camera work, and setting a stage for the stuntmen to truly show off their craft. There's an art to the violence. But yeah, that's been its thing since 2014. The original John Wick practically reinvented and saved the entire action movie genre from a dark place.
Consider this a professional courtesy.
Since then, we've gotten good action in action movies. But there's more to it than that. There's another reason. The praise of the action in the original film and its sequels has unfortunately overshadowed everything else that is just as responsible for making these movies so successful. In my mind, there's two reasons the John Wick franchise became so successful. One is the action, and two is the world. Because the franchise is just as interested in crafting a world, similarly to great franchises of the past like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, as it is racking up the kill count.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Action movies are a thing. There's an unbelievable amount of them, yet unfortunately, despite anyone's best attempts, similar to horror movies, there's a lot of terrible ones. It's just a fact of life at this point, and honestly, that's completely fine by me. You know why? Because when one comes along that reminds us why we like the genre in the first place, it just makes it all worth the while. Such was the case in 2014 when John Wick came out. I didn't catch it in 2014, but I caught it on Netflix, and my 12-year-old self was mesmerized. At the time, I just presumed it was due to the fact that he murdered like 80 people in the movie. I wasn't wrong, but I also thought the coin thingies were super interesting. Those coins, such a simplistic item in the film, unique to its world, symbolizing something much more to understand about it. Yet the first time we see them was merely a pinky in this pond of a masterclass in world building. And it's really what makes John Wick stand apart from the crowd featuring modern entries like Extraction, The Raid, Atomic Blonde, Ip Man or Yip Man, Bullet Train, maybe the Bourne movies, or Nobody, or The Equalizer, or really even older Hong Kong action cinema, which I need to go see more of.
It has a sensibility of a Western, of a samurai movie, of a wuxia kung fu film. It has an underworld side. It has mythology. It's got car chases, Like, what other franchise can you put 70s styles car chases, attack dogs, samurais, ninja? It didn't exist, and then we got to make it exist.
They engineered a world where all of that was possible.
Look, we'll just do it like a Greek myth. There's Zeus on this mountain, John's a man, and it's a world of gods, and we'll never see this. And Keanu went, literally was a little quiet for a second. He's like, okay, great. Let me call you back.
The High Table, or Mount Olympus. A mountain we never see, but feel its presence everywhere we go. A world we've never seen before. One that intrigues us because it's set in our own time, maybe even your own city, places you are normally familiar with, but now twisted into wickedly unfamiliar ones. Yet twisted with the style of what it's inspired from, styles that you are familiar with from the movies or mythology of old, leaving you with something wildly unique and captivating. And seeing the evolution from film to film is especially interesting upon rewatching them, since you can see the moment where they stop trying to make it fit in a recognizable world, a world where law enforcement might exist. You can see the moment where they fully embrace what they have and commit to making this world a literal fantasy, because that's what it is. Why try and hide it when it gives you this much storytelling potential? Modern day Lord of the Rings, from the mouth of the director himself, is maybe the best description you could make. Creating systems like a Greek hierarchy and rules like religious commandments.
Rules. Without them, we live with the animals.
Occupations as if a corpse cleanup crew was on paid salary. And again, with inspiration from samurais or westerns, codes of honor among the warriors. Hinting that this is not merely an underground world similar to a mob cartel, moving drugs with the intent on being rich, but something different and deeper, a world that we may never truly understand because its depths feel so far away. There lies an idea, a world which, on paper, in a pitch meeting, might absolutely kill to producers. But as many have failed in the past, executing on these ideas can be an area more challenging and more important than the actual ideas themselves. This is the area where John Wick never skipped a beat. And I would say this, more so than in its actual ideas, it's in its execution where it really becomes gold. Because world building is about much more than thinking up that world on your own, on paper, on your brainstorming board. It's about the way you present that world to the audience in the movie. There's an art involved with it, similarly to the writer's constant battle with delivering exposition. What I love about the way Wick does it is its refusal to spoon-feed anybody. With such a wildly deep and complex world that this world is, many writers and directors might lean towards using narration or text to convey the necessary context to the viewer. Yet John Wick does none of that. It's treated similarly to a cold open, but it's cold constantly. The way we learn about information, the way it's presented to us as if they're just assuming we're already familiar with it. Of course, they know we aren't, but that's the genius in how it's done.
And as always, it is a pleasure having you with us again, Mr. Wick.
Remember those coins? Rather than explaining how the world works, we are shown.
Room 818.
Never is the audience treated like a kindergarten student who needs their hand held through the movie. Filmmakers who respect the intelligence of their audience usually get that respect in return. It keeps us engaged in learning about the world because we don't get 4, we get 2 plus 2.
I first started really understanding this storytelling device when I was writing with Bob Peterson on Finding Nemo, and we would call this the unifying theory of 2 plus 2. Make the audience put things together. Don't give them 4, give them 2 plus 2. The elements you provide and the order you place them in is crucial to whether you succeed or fail at engaging the audience. Editors and screenwriters have known this all along. It's the invisible application that holds our attention to story.
The point is, the audience does it themselves, thus making them an active participant in your storytelling rather than blank observers, making us aware of the logistics and mechanics of this world over telling us. One of the John Wick franchise's greatest achievements is also its consistency. With each movie, the magic is never lost. As the action is taken up a notch in each sequel, so is the world building.
What's been the most surprising part about the process of the world building? Because I know that we have the expansions of like the Ballerina and the Continental. So what's been the most surprising part about the world building for you?
I think for Keanu and I, it's always the most surprising thing is that we're still interested in it.
Introducing us to not only new characters, but expanded lore and dynamics and rules, making the world more and more fascinating as we continue to learn about it. And again, with each sequel, the execution, too, never drops the ball. The second film introduces the markers.
Please, don't. I'm asking you not to do this.
At first, as Santino presents it to Wick, we don't even know what it is or what it means, but they do. And as an audience member, feeling as in the dark as we are in this moment, as if we are missing out on our friend's inside joke, makes us feel like we need to know more. And this is more attention-grabbing than anything. Once we finally learn what it means,
this is your blood. You came to me. I helped you. If you don't do this, you know the consequences.
The concept lives up to our anticipation of it.
2 rules that cannot be broken, Jonathan. No blood on continental grounds, and every marker must be honored.
Literally a perfect symbol of that warrior honor code, morality concept that Chad clearly expressed his admiration for in those classic samurai stories. And we get it in moments of the film.
Consider this a professional courtesy.
Plus, not only do they create new ones, but they play further on concepts introduced in the first one, building it further.
What have you done?
Then in 3, it gets even weirder, and I love it. In 4, we see the same thing, and I love it, again because they, again, never drop the ball. What the John Wick franchise remembers about movies is that movies can be an escape. an escape into a world that isn't our own. It's no wonder writers, whether for films or for novels or short stories, take so much passion in doing so. But as fun as it is to come up with your own fantasy universe that could never be, being successful at it doesn't come with the same ease. So if you're looking for an exemplary example of how you do it good, look no further than the Baba Yaga.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.